What's going on, guys? It's PokePond back with another video for you. So excited to bring this video for you today. The market is healing, it's doing so well. I've got some really big predictions for what's coming next, and we are seeing some sets hit all-time highs and beyond. Destined Rivals is one of them. This is an episode that you're really going to want to pay attention to. Subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity, and let's get into it. Let's start off today by talking about Phantasmal Flames. We always start off talking about the most recent sets that have come out. Phantasmal Flames is such an interesting set to me, to be honest, just because there has been so much negativity in the hobby around Phantasmal Flames, saying it's a rubbish set, it's a short, small set, the hits are too easy to hit. I can tell you right now that SIR Charizard that everyone's trying to hit is not easy to hit. We worked it out the other day on the video that it takes on average 12 booster boxes, like 11.5 booster boxes or something like that to hit a specific SIR in the set. And it's not as easy to hit as people think. And people are ripping this set at such an insane rate, and we're just not seeing the restock of booster boxes. And we can have a look at what that means in the data here. Not only is it hovering still way above retail price, completely negating everything that those influencers were saying that it was going to zero, and well, not that it's going to zero, that it's going to MSRP and it's a rubbish investment and you shouldn't pay over $200 a box and it's going to be sat on shelves. None of this has come true. And I've said from the very beginning, I've gone against everyone's opinions on that this is a good set, it's got good chase cards, and it's performing really well. I mean, the data doesn't lie. It has been continuing to go up in price over the last couple of weeks as well. Let's have a look at the data, because honestly, the data does not lie. I mean, I can sit here and make predictions all day long until I'm blue in the face, and people will not agree with it. But once this set's been out for a little while, like Phantasmal's still so new, so it's so hard to tell what's going to happen with like reprints and how much of it is going to be available. But from what I can see in the market, it's getting ripped like crazy, and there just isn't the restocks coming, at least not anytime soon. So I mean, even if they do restock this product en masse, I still think people will just burn through it. I think that people will just rip this like crazy. It is a fan favorite for these rip and ship streams as well. Everyone chasing that big Charizard card, and you've also got the gold card. I hear a lot of comments on my videos as well, that people that don't agree saying, oh yeah, but there's only one hit in the set. Yeah, but there's so many Pokemon sealed sets that only have one good hit in the set that are like hit or bust. I mean, even just in this era, Twilight Masquerade, that's doing completely fine. That's Greninja or bust. If you start looking back at other eras as well, you've got Brilliant Stars, you've got the Charizard's Alt Art or bust, you've got Silver Tempest, you've got the Lugia, Alt Art or bust. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can carry on. Burning Shadows. There's just so many sets that are one card or bust. So the fact that there's two Chase Charizards in this set, I mean, yeah, I've made my opinions very clear on Phantasmal Flames. Every week I feel like I'm just trying to defend it. Like, I feel like I'm in court and Phantasmal Flames is about to get sent down for life, and the whole jury of the Pokemon community are trying to send it down for life, and I'm its defense lawyer, and I'm here. I'm the one person that's saying, no, Phantasmal Flames is innocent. Honestly, it's such a good set, and it will continue to do well as well. Mega Evolution, the whole era as a whole, has been hitting it out of the park. Like, the base set is so good, Phantasmal Flames is so good. Ascended Heroes, we haven't been talking about that much, but that's going to be a really good set as well. Perfect Order, I won't talk on Perfect Order until we see a set list. Anyone who does talk on Perfect Order before you see a set list and is just basing it on what 4 or 5 Pokemon are on the booster pack arts, absolute nonsense. I mean, I briefly talked about this on a short on Instagram. By the way, I've been making more shorts on Instagram just because it's a good way for me to be able to make a quick video that's not polished for YouTube, and I can just give you opinions on the fly. So follow me on Instagram at PokePond1. Make sure you put the 1 on the end because someone stole my handle. But yeah, I quite often have started making new, like, little tiny videos, like a couple of minutes, and I'm going to do that more regular as well. So if you want up-to-date updates of everything that's going on, what I'm thinking of all the new sets coming out, all the news that's hitting the hobby, sometimes it's not like enough information for me to sit down and like make a full video for YouTube. So sometimes I just make little stuff for Instagram. Anyway, getting sidetracked. Phantasmal Flames. Let's look at the data. It's actually going up in price. So all these people that hate on it are being very silent right now. Last week on the averages, it was $244. It's still at $244, but the average is rising because the average was right down here at like 213. So it's just leveling out at that 240 range. And that's exactly what we called here on the channel like weeks and weeks ago. We said that it's going to settle at this new base level, which is synonymous with like the cheapest sets in the Scarlet and Violet era. Phantasmal is just sitting right on that level. It's just acting like it was a Scarlet and Violet set that's been out forever. So what's going to happen when Phantasmal's been out for a good amount of time? Because when you've got a newer set, there's a lot of it about. There's a lot of it being traded. It's all about supply and demand. And when a set's just come out, the supply is at the highest it's ever going to be. It really, really is. So once it gets a little bit older, guys, and time goes by fast in this hobby, where are we going to be looking at in the summer? By Christmas next year. Because that will come around quickly. And you could make the argument, yeah, okay, well, there's going to be big reprints. Yeah, maybe. Or there might just be little reprints. Or there might just be no reprints and they'll just forget about it. Because I'm telling you, the Pokemon TCG hobby is full and littered with sets that should have got reprints that didn't. I mean, just look at Destined Rivals. Where was the big reprints on that? It's going to the moon. I'm not saying Phantasmal is Destined Rivals or anywhere near it in like equality. However, there's a lot of sets out there that should have got reprinted that didn't. Crimson Invasion, Rebel Clash, Guardians Rising. There's a lot of sets like that that really should have had a reprint and didn't, and are now at a premium. So Phantasmal's sitting at that 240 mark. It's rising on the averages as well. Not hitting MSRP anytime soon, if you ask me. Last sold, eBay US, $235. Like I said, that's right up there. You can get some bargains right now. You can scoop up some Scarlet and Violet sets for cheaper than that. You can pick up Paradox cheaper than that right now. If you're lucky, you could probably get Journey Together cheaper than that right now if you get a good auction. Surgeon sometimes goes for less than that. Temporal. Base. Like, what are we talking about here, guys? Like, how long is it going to take before people admit that they're wrong on Phantasmal? Oh, it won't happen. I know it won't happen because even if they're wrong, they'll just move on to the next thing. There's no accountability in this hobby for people who make predictions. There's really not. Phantasmal will perform really well long term. Okay, it will go over $500 a box. It will take a decent amount of time for it to go over $500 a box. But there's no doubt in my mind that it will. So anyone who's talking rubbish on it now, who doesn't like doubling their money within a couple of years? That will beat out most modern retail investments across any market. Okay. What's the chances that gold's going to double in price in the next couple of years? How many people are invested in gold? What's the chances that silver will double up again? Silver's already on a massive run as well. By the way, I invest in a lot of different things, not just Pokemon. This channel is all about Pokemon sealed product. I feel like the reason why I started this channel all those years ago is because people weren't doing this. And this is what people need. People, like, I needed this. I needed a channel like this that would track all of the prices for me and tell me everything that was going on so that I didn't have to. That's what this channel is all about, and pointing out those plays to you with proper analysis of the data and comparing it to previous sets and just getting a really good feel for where things are going long term. Anyway, 235, way over retail for the most recent set that's come out. And Pokemon Company is going to start rotating out. They're going to start focusing on the new sets. We've got 2 sets announced that aren't even out yet. We've got Ascended Heroes and Perfect Order, which I guarantee their printers right now are printing that. We could see some Phantasmal Flames waves coming through, some restocks. I wouldn't be surprised. But is it going to be enough? That's the thing for the demand. I personally think that the supply of Phantasmal is at the highest it's ever going to be right now. And as time moves on, as it always does, supply is just going to go down and down. And that's going to push price up this set. I think it's a good investment, even getting in at this price point. I don't think it's going to go much cheaper. Potentially it could if it gets big reprints, but I don't see it happening personally. Last sold in the UK, just under 200 quid. Again, rising up in price. You could scoop these for 180 all day long, not that long ago, a couple of weeks ago. So that's what I'm saying. I think supply's going down. In the UK, look, here, buy it now. 207. That's the highest it's been for quite a while. That was today as well, this morning. New listing tag bought out straight away. It's climbing. It's climbing up in price. I'm telling you, it really is. Let's talk about Mega Evolution then. Mega Evolution base is kind of chilling, and I think it's a bit of a bargain right now. On the average price charts, last week it was 248, around about that 250 range. Still selling at 250, so it's holding at 250, but you're getting bargains. Look, you're getting odd sales here, 230, 230. You could scoop it up a little bit cheaper. Look at this, last sold, eBay US, 210. 210 on a nice minty box. That is a steal, I'm telling you. The market is at such an interesting point right now. And when I talk about the market, I'm talking about the sealed market, and I'm talking about everything modern era. So everything XY evolutions forward. So I'm talking about all of Sun and Moon. I'm talking about all of Scarlet and Violet. I'm talking about all of Sword and Shield. I'm talking about all of Mega Evolution era. Okay, and that's a lot of said. When I just said it out loud, I was like, oh my gosh, like modern era is like getting quite big now. We've been rolling for quite a while. But that's the last 10 years of printing. Okay, modern era, I put it as XY evolution onwards. The last set of the XY era onwards. And the reason why I include the last set of XY is because that's when a lot of people came back to the hobby, when XY evolutions released. And that to me is the modern era of Pokemon. Card collecting and investing especially. That personally, I wouldn't invest in anything pre that, because then you've got like mid sort of like low popular era, and then before that you've got like Wizards of the Coast era. Everything sort of Skyridge and older is like vintage era as well. And there's a whole group of people that are involved with that. Credit to them. Me personally, I'm a modern sealed investor expert, question mark. That's what I class myself as. And like, that sounds so niche when you think about how many people are in the hobby. That is such like a niche little percentage of everything that's going on in the hobby. But hey, that's what we specialize on. Mega Evolution. Anyway, we're getting way sidetracked here. Mega Evolution 210. That's really, really cheap. That is cheaper than any booster box in the Scarlet and Violet era right now. Like I said, Phantasmal's going for more than that right now. I think that is a bit of a steal in price. I think that anything, and I will say this week on week right now, anything under $240 for anything Mega Evolution era or Scarlet and Violet era is a really good price point to buy it. I always say to everyone, you've got to hold for a couple of years, minimum. Not that you've got to hold for a couple of years, but you've got to be prepared to hold for a couple of years if the worst case scenario happens and it dips down in price. That will even out any dips in price. You could sell it after 2 weeks if you want and you're in profit. I really don't care. Some people will call you a scalper. Personally, I don't think that's scalping. I mean, I don't fully think that's the best way to go about things, because you're better off holding it for longer term and getting the serious gains on it. But hey, you do you. If you've got the product, you've got the power. That is the motto on the channel. If you've got the product, you can do what you want with it. You can sell it whenever you want. Who cares what people call you? Personally, I define a scalper as someone who's there buying it at retail on release day and then selling it later that night for an increased price. That is scalping to me. Buying a Mega Evolution booster box now, a base set box for what, 10-15% below market, and then listing it for market, I don't think that's scalping personally. I wouldn't do it myself, but each to their own. Anyway, 210 looks crazy cheap to me. Last sold in the UK. Look at this, 203 quid non-enhanced version. Again, just looks cheap. It's going to be a creeper box. You're not going to get rich overnight with that, but I think the Mega Evolution era, people are sleeping on it. They really, really are. And it happens every time you get a new era of something. People are just like, oh, no, it's not that great. I'll wait. And like, they wait until stuff hits like $400 a box. And then they're like, oh, actually, it's the best thing ever. And then they all flood in at $400 a box. The way you really make money in this hobby and make serious gains, and I'm serious about this, is buying when people aren't buying. That is how you really make money. And I'm telling you, a lot of people aren't buying Phantasmal and a lot of people aren't buying Mega Evolutions like they should to keep it sealed long term. People are buying them, don't get me wrong. That's why the price is way over retail. But most of those sales are people opening them and ripping them. The actual people that are really investing in stuff, a lot of them are sleeping on this Mega Evolution era at the moment. And they'll buy in once they start FOMOing into it. Once it starts pushing $500 a box in a year, 2 years' time. That's when you'll see the big run on it. Let's then talk about Destined Rivals. I don't know even where to start with Destined Rivals. This week, Destined Rivals is outperforming everyone's expectations. It is cemented itself as easily the most expensive box in the Scarlet and Violet era now. It is starting to leapfrog way over Paldea Evolved now. We've been calling it since day one. We have been calling it since before its release. Okay, when they first trademarked the name, and there was all that hype online. People will remember it. It wasn't that long ago. There was all this hype online about, oh, there's going to be a Team Rocket set and blah de blah de blah. There was so much hype for it. Okay, I knew then it was going to be the best set of the Scarlet and Violet era. Everyone in the hobby agreed before it came out, and then it came out, and everyone just said, "Oh no, it's overpriced. Don't buy into it." And I was like, no, nothing's changed, guys. Like, this is still the most insane set. It is the most insane, like, not necessarily for like hits and cards, but like how iconic it is. Okay, in 5 years' time, every seal collector, and I'm talking about collectors, not investors here, every seal collector in 5 years' time is going to want a Destined Rivals box if they haven't already got one. Especially when it starts shooting up in price as well. People are going to FOMO into this box so hard. I like to think of it as like a snowball at the top of a mountain. Okay, what happens to that snowball as in time it rolls down that mountain? That is Destined Rivals. Its price is only going to get bigger over time. I'm telling you guys right now. It's going up in price again. On the average charts last week, $403, which was already the most expensive. Last sold, $420. A whole case going for $420 there. $420, $400, $420, $418, $418. Like, what are we talking about here, guys? It is one of the most recent modern boxes to come out. It is already more expensive than stuff that has been out years longer than it in the same era. It's more expensive than everything. Like, in fact, it's more expensive than everything that is, yeah, Scarlet and Violet base onwards. And it's one of the newer sets. So let's just have a look at eBay. Now, eBay says an even crazier story than TCG Player. It's important to realise that TCG Player charts are useful because you can see the averages and where things are moving. But things, I find, tend to sort of lack a bit behind on TCG Player, and you really see the big movements and like the live pricing from eBay last sold. And just look at how insane these prices are. I was even a bit shocked when I loaded it up. I'm going to put my hoodie on while I'm talking because it is absolutely freezing here. It is winter and I have my heating off because I save money. And when I'm not super cold, I have my heating off because it's more money for sealed product. That might sound crazy to you, but it is what it is. Oh, I feel much warmer already. There we go. I've got this like fake sheepskin hoodie. Perfect. Who needs heating, guys? Let's spend that money on more sealed product. Anyway, look at these prices, guys. $460 last sold yesterday on a buy it now. Before that, yesterday on an auction, $486. What? Like, that's nuts. Destined Rivals is now that particular one that sold yesterday on an auction, that is going for more than a sealed Silver Tempest from Sword and Shield, just to put things into perspective for you. And it's starting to clip at the heels of Brilliant Stars as well. That's how you can get a real gauge of what's going on, because they didn't print enough of them. If you'd have listened to all of those influencers that said they were going to print them into the ground, it was absolute nonsense. I was telling you people to buy this before release. I was telling you people to buy this when it was $180, when it was $200, when it was $250, when it was $260. I was saying still buy into it. It's still a good deal. It's still going to go up. It was against what everyone was saying. We're having the same thing with Phantasmal Flames now. Everyone's telling you not to buy into it. I'm not saying Phantasmal's going to perform as good as Destined Rivals, because I don't think it will. But what I'm saying is it's the exact same thing. Okay? These people, these Instagrammers that don't have a clue what they're talking about, that make a little short video saying, don't buy into Destined Rivals at $200. It's going to MSRP next week. And then they got a whole list of comments that are just like, yeah, definitely. Yeah, MSRP. I'd never pay. There were so many comments. This is my favorite comment that I saw when Destined Rivals was at like $200. My favorite comment that you saw everywhere was, I personally, my sealed investment strategy is I never buy anything over retail price. Okay, great. That works fine when the market's in decline or at the bottom of a hype cycle. Okay. If you take that advice, you would have never bought Evolving Skies, because Evolving Skies was never retail on release. It went for $200 out of the gate on the secondary market. You would have never got Destined Rivals. You would have never got Team Up. You would have missed all of the best sets of all of the eras. Honestly, guys, $486 is nuts. This was like $380 the other day. Okay. Again, with these influencers, there was someone literally last week with a massive following. She's an absolute clown. And she was saying, oh, if you'd have bought into Destined Rivals at the peak back in October, you've messed up. You've messed up. Like, it's going to take you at least 3 years to see some profit again. Literally 2 weeks later, we're at $486. Honestly, don't give these people the time of day. They don't know what they're talking about. They've been around for 5 minutes. And, yeah. Enough said on that. $486. Nuts. This was $400, like, at the peak of the market. What, like 2 weeks ago? So, like, in the last 2 weeks, it's gone up 86 on 400. It's gone up 21% in, what, like 2.5 weeks? I don't know exactly how long it is. It's about 2-3 weeks, something like that. It's up another 21% when it was already the most expensive box. Where do you think this box is going to go long term? Okay. Where do you think this is going to go when you put this away for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? It's a no-brainer. Even buying in at these prices, the reason why people are paying these prices is because they realise that these big reprints aren't coming. Okay, we saw it with Evolving Skies. We saw late reprints on Evolving Skies, and it just didn't affect the secondary market because they just get eaten up like that because it's not enough for the demand. And I'm telling you, the demand is only going to go up for Destined Rivals, and the supply is only going to go down. These people that are buying it for $486, $460, they're taking it off the market. Okay. They're not relisting this again next month for the same price they bought it for, 460. They might flip it for 500, 550. It might go back on the market, but then the market's already moved up. You're already in profit if you buy in at this price point. I've been saying it since before release. It's a good buy at that price. I've been saying when it was $200, it's a good buy. I've been saying when it was $300, it's a good buy. $400, it's a good buy. Guys, we're now at 460, 480. It's still a good buy. This is going to be one of the top 5 sets of the last 10 years. I'm telling you now. And that's a bold claim to make. Let me actually think about that. Let me recap. Okay, so top sets. Evolving Skies. Team Up. Okay, it's going to struggle for top 5 when you start looking at all of like the Team Up sets, Unbroken Bonds, that kind of thing. Unified Minds. But maybe. I think that there's a world where this overtakes Fusion Strike. Fusion Strike is the second best Sword and Shield set, and that's at what, $1,000 right now. How long before Destined Rivals overtakes Fusion Strike? I could see them being pretty equal in like not too many years' time. I could see it getting up to those levels. I really can. Anyway, we are talking way too much. We're on like set 3, and I've got to go get a trim in like 40 minutes. So we need to stop the story time with PokePond, and we need to start rolling through it. I'm in desperate need for a trim as well. I look cooked. I've been so ill the last few weeks I couldn't get one. So we're going to jet off and get one soon. Last sold, eBay UK, 340 quid. They're just creeping up each week. Each week it's just getting more and more and more. And I think it's just going to continue to happen because I do not see big reprints of the booster boxes coming. I don't see it. Prismatic Evolutions. Prismatic Evolutions starting to climb up in price again, slowly. Again, Prismatic is one of these snowball sets right now. It will start accelerating up in price. Okay. At the moment, it's gaining a few dollars each week. What was it last week? Last week it was averaging 121. Last sold 128. So it's up $7, which is what, like 4%, 3.5%, 4% in a week. Not too bad. Prismatic is one of the best sets in the era as well. Incredibly underpriced, incredibly mass printed. Blink and it's gone. Okay, in 6 months from now, a year from now, the supply is going to be much less than what it is now. The demand isn't going to change. Or at least the demand's not going to get lower. If anything, the demand's going to get higher as people start FOMOing into it. That's going to create a perfect storm. As prices go up, more people want it. Demand goes faster, faster, faster. Snowball effect. Okay, Prismatic is going to perform really, really well long term. I said right here, it's crazy that it went back to like 110. I don't think that's ever going to happen again. I still think it's incredibly cheap to buy into it now. Last sold, eBay US, 117, 124. I don't think you lose at this price. The reason why I'm not buying more of it right now is space. It's purely space that I don't have enough room to store ETBs right now. I actually liquidated a lot of my ETBs over the last week. You can see that on Instagram. I usually do posts when I'm like selling a lot of stuff or buying a lot of stuff. If you're interested in what I'm buying and selling or what I think on things, like I said, I'm doing a lot of short videos to like update people. I'm going to be doing more and more of those. Instagram is really where you see the detail of what I'm doing with my collection. So 125, I don't think you lose at that price. Last sold in the UK, 123. I honestly think, right, long-term predictions, that goes over $500 a box. Given enough time, given enough years, 3 years, 4 years, I think that goes to $500 a box. So if you're willing to put that away for a little while and you've got enough space to put that away, I think you'll do very well out of that. Let's start zipping through these sets then. Particularly the sets that aren't like the key focus of like the top best in class sets. We will zip through these quite quickly. Right, Journey Together has been increasing in price recently, hovering a little bit over that base level of that 240, 250 mark for that Scarlet and Violet era that I talked about. Last sold 250, 250. Couple selling for 260 a couple of days ago, 250. I think it's going to float around that 250 mark. I think that is a very fair price for it. I think that the bottom of the bucket sets before the era should be at around about 240. To see Journey at 250, I think that's where it should be at, but I also think it's quite a good deal at that price point. I got a comment from someone saying, oh yeah, but who's going to want to open Journey together in the future just to pull a Clefairy? Lots of people. Like, I'm telling you, a lot of people will want Journey together in the future. There will be a market for every set sealed, especially as well because the box itself becomes a collectible. It doesn't just matter about what's in the set. Once enough time goes past, people just want the sealed box to display the sealed box. Okay, last sold, eBay US, 220. Like I've been saying to you guys, anything sub 240 for a minty box, no rips and seals, for any set, you're doing all right. That's a good price point to buy in at. Last sold, eBay UK, 170. That's cheap. If you're wondering why I'm doing US and UK prices, I have to say this each and every week. I'm from the UK. I specialize in UK prices. We track all of the US prices as well. That's the biggest English card market in the world. Yeah, simple as that. That's why you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. I will track all of these sets for you in the modern era. I will tell you everything that's going on so that you don't have to keep track with it. And you can have that competitive edge over everyone. You can know these price changes before everyone else. All you got to do, pop me on once a week, each and every Saturday. I bring you this video, rain or shine. Even when I'm sick, I'll come and make you this video. I made one the other week when I was really, really poorly. But I had to make a video for you guys. I had to do it. Surging Sparks then. Surging Sparks is hovering a little bit over that mark. It's going at around about 260 range now, increasing in price. Last week it was 253. Now it's going for 263. I told you guys it was a little bit underpriced for what it is. A lot of people like Surging Sparks. Hearing weird stuff right now about reprints on Surging and Journey particular. Okay, half the market is rumoring that Surging is early out of print. Don't know about that. A lot of people are adamant on that. I heard some stuff over this last week that there's going to be big Surging and Journey reprints at the end of this month. So like within the next couple of weeks. Again, rumor. I can't say for sure whether that's true or not. Could just be some nonsense floating around. I have no official source for that. But when I hear rumors, I'll put them out here on the channel. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just more information for you. So yeah. If there is a big reprint on Surging and it comes down in price some more, I think that is a really good buy. I don't think it's a bad buy for this price at 260. I think long term, it goes over 500 a box, so you double up on your money. I think it'll take a couple of years to do that. But yeah, I like Surging. I don't think it's in a bad place. However, look at this. Last sold, eBay US, 224. Okay? But TCG Market says it's 260. There's deals to be had right now if you know your prices. Okay, we're at this really interesting divide in the market where half of the people on Instagram think that the market is crashing and are trying to sell that narrative, and then there's a few people like myself who are just like, no, it's not crashing, things are still going up. When you actually look at the charts and look at the data, things are going up. So you're getting people that are dumping below market for 225. And then the smart people like us, there's not enough of us around. So there's just so many opportunities to buy under market. Surging for 224 is a crazy deal. That is a really, really good price. Anything sub 240 is good, is what we've determined. Okay. So Surging is not the worst set either. So Surging is holding a premium up here at like 260, like right now. But someone scooped one yesterday for 224. Guys, if you've got the confidence right now to buy and put your money into sealed, now is one of the best opportunities to buy in. Because I don't think the hype cycle's over. And I think that there's a lot of people dumping that think that it is. So, like I said earlier in the video, the way you really make money in this hobby is to buy when people aren't buying. And I'm telling you, there's not enough people buying Surging sealed right now. And it's the same with some other sets as well. So there's some fantastic opportunities right now if you're willing to move in now and be patient. Last sold eBay UK 208. Not a bad price. A little bit more expensive here in the UK. Paradox Rift, bottom of the bucket. Like, it really is. I don't mean to offend anyone when I say that, but it is one of the cheapest sets in the era. Last week it was averaging 238. Still at that, well, last sale 250, but then the sale before 233. So it's like up and down on that 240 mark, and then there's 240, 235, 250, 250. It's all over the place, Paradox, but it's right there at the bottom of the bucket at that 250 range. I'm not even going to look at eBay prices on that. Like I said, when market is at like 240, 250, you're going to get people dumping way below. You're going to get people dumping for 230, 220. When you see that, you move into these sets. Okay, you can't lose when you're buying so cheap like that. Temporal Forces. Temporal Forces has had a rebound up in price over the last couple of weeks. I said it was overpriced here. It dipped down. I still think it's a little bit overpriced for what it is. And I like Temporal. I like Temporal as a set. I'm not using any emotion when I say about Temporal being overpriced, because I actually really like it. I want to see it perform really well. I own a lot of it, but I do think it's a bit overpriced at the minute. I think it should be closer to that 250 sort of range for Temporal right now. Last week it was at 265. Last sale 274. We're going back up to these crazy prices on Temporal. I think it's about 10% overpriced right now. But if you're willing to hold it for the long term, or you snipe a deal at that 10-20% below market around about that 250 range, I think you're laughing. Look at this. Last sold eBay US 260. See, that's a better deal. 260 is closer to where I think it should be. I think it should be around about that 250 mark. There you go. Another sale 2 days ago. 250 on the nose. I think that's perfect price point to entry into Temporal. Let's then have a look at last sold UK. 184. Like, creeping up there in price, but it's still mega cheap. Not that far off of retail. Not a bad buy, but I feel like if you're patient and you look for someone that's dumping one, I feel like you could scoop one for like 170 quid still, if you're lucky and you're patient. Let's then talk about 151. 151 is pretty much back at its all-time high at about 400. The average price chart is lacking behind a little bit. Like we said, TCG Player lacks behind a little bit. Last week, the average was 384. Average prices are rising because it's constantly selling for 400 again. And then there's a sale there from the 12th, which was 5 days ago, for 408, which is, in fact, multiple sales for 408 there, which is right back up there at its all-time high. All-time high averages was 410. So we did call it. We were shocked that it even dropped off that $400 mark, and now it's rebounded back up to 400. Average price still puts it at 390, but it's just lacking behind a little bit. Last sold eBay US, so look at this. This is what I'm talking about bargains. If you know your prices, you can get some crazy bargains. Look at this. Yesterday, 370. You're getting that nearly 10% off of the high. Let's look for another one. One just sold for 430. 430 yesterday. So that's way over market. That's like all-time high there, 430. Then another one, 380. And then look at this, yesterday, 310. Okay, market is 400. Deals to be had if you know your prices. And look at just the swing in prices. Okay, 3 sales on the same day yesterday, all buy it nows as well, from 310, the cheapest I've seen in a long time, to 430, an all-time high. There's a massive swing, $120 swing on what, 310? Nearly a 40% swing between 3 buy it nows yesterday. Half the market are dumping, the smart money's moving in. Like, there's not enough of us smart money people, so there's just deals to be had. Okay, it won't last forever. We're at a very rare situation where the stupid people who still think the market is crashing haven't realized that it's actually not yet. They're just listening to these influencers and being like, oh yeah, everyone's saying the market's crashing, so the market must be crashing. If you look at the data, it's not true. Everything's hitting all-time highs again, or is within 10% of all-time highs, and it's going up. Even the most modern stuff, like Phantasmal, it's going up, guys. It's a fantastic time. I love being at the hobby when there's when you know something the rest of the market doesn't know. It's great. It really is. We get so many good deals. Last sold eBay UK 302, 307. And I'm telling you, the market is sleeping right now. And us little investor boys with our little tiny channels and girls, like I'm telling you, we're on the ball. We can see what the market's really doing. And they will wake up. It will just take them a little bit of time. And that's when things really start to surge in price. When they start realizing, oh, actually, 2026 is still a hype cycle. We're just continuing the biggest hype of all time. Like, you look at any stocks and shares graph, okay? Anywhere on the stock market, okay? Stuff that performs really well, it doesn't just go straight up, okay? What happens is things go up and then they correct down a bit because people sell off and they're not sure, and then it shoots up again. That's what I think is happening right now. It really is. Winter cool off. We're not out of the hype cycle yet. 2026 is going to be a crazy year, I'm telling you. Let's talk about Paldea Evolved then. Paldea Evolved, again, dropped down in price back in the winter cool off. I told you guys it's not justified because no more product hit the market. No new Elite Trainer boxes hit the market, but price came down. I told you it's just a matter of time until it bounces back up. Paldea and Fates, right back up there at all-time highs again. Last week on the averages, 280. Last sold, 290. 298. So we're at that 300 rate. Another one, 300. What's its all-time high at on the charts? 286. 291. 291. So it's already selling at its all-time high and beyond. Okay? That last sale there on the 13th there, 5 days ago, that's an all-time high for TCG Player. Let's have a look at eBay. eBay, 270. 255. So it's creeping back up there, but it's still not at that 300 plus range. It will get there. Okay, it really will get there over the next couple of weeks. Right now, you can get a $30 discount. That's 10%. $30 is 10% on something that they're not printing more of. It's one of the best sets. They short printed it. They never made enough of this. Guys, this was crazy. Also, just want to add, right? Last sold on eBay UK, 210. I was buying these on Amazon. There was no buy limit for 45 quid each. Not even that long ago. It doesn't even seem that long ago. It was like maybe a year ago. These were like 45 quid each on Amazon. You could buy as many as you wanted as well. Crazy. Crazy work. Twilight Masquerade. We really need to zip through these because I got to go get my trim. Twilight Masquerade has recovered back to the $300 range, holding at $300. I think that's fair. When bottom of the market to the mid sets are all like 240 to 260, I think Twilight ahead of that at about 16-17% premium on those other sets. I think that makes sense. So I think that $300 is a nice round mark for it. I think that long term, it will push up over that $500 range because it will be, if not in that top 5 sets, it will be close to those top 5 sets. We can kind of see what happened with those top 5 sets of the Sword and Shield era. You've got your stuff like Brilliant Stars, Silver Tempest. I think that Twilight Masquerade can be compared to those sets. Not directly, but I think that when it's as old as Silver Tempest and Brilliant Stars, you got your one big chase card. I think that it will push similarly to the same sort of ranges that it's at the moment with Silver and Brilliant. It will be knocking on the door of $500 within a couple of years. So you'd be looking at what, like a 80% increase over the next couple of years. I think that's quite conservative. I think that's quite likely to happen. Last sold eBay US, 270. See, this is what I'm saying, guys. Market's 300 easily. And you're getting sales, nice minty box, buy it now, 270 from yesterday. And then an auction for 310. Like, it doesn't make sense there being a 270 buy it now when an auction just ended the same day for 310. That's a deal. You're getting a $40 off. $40 is what, like 12 to 14%, somewhere in that range, discount, and you get on a buy it now for a nice sealed one, nice minty one as well. That looks perfect. Deals to be had in the market, guys. I don't know how many times I've got to say it. Last sold eBay UK 224, creeping up there in price, but still pretty cheap for what it is, if you ask me. Paldea Evolved booster box. No longer the most expensive box in the era, just kind of hovering at this $400 range. I think it's got room to creep up there more. I think it is the second best box in the era. Again, look, flat, multiple sales at that 400 range, two sales, 393, 393, 393, a couple of sales, 408 towards the middle, the start of last week. Not too bad, but just holding at that mark. I think that's a fair price, and I think if you buy in at that price point, you'll do fine if you put that away for a couple of years. But like I said, Destined is selling for like 460, 480 now, and Paldea is selling for like that 400 mark. There you go. Last sold on the nose yesterday, $400. I was a bit shocked by this case at first when I saw it. Case of Paldea Evolve sealed for $1,500. I'm like, whoa, that's really cheap. And then I was like, oh, it's Spanish. That makes sense. It's not an English card set. Oh, by the way, be careful. Lots of scams going around right now on sealed cases. Me personally, I don't buy sealed cases, but what people are doing, I need to make you guys aware of these scams. And it's happening on not just booster box cases, it's happening on ETB cases as well. The example I saw was on an ETB case, and what they had done is they took a sealed case of ETBs of Shrouded Fable, and then they just reprinted this thermal sticker as a 151 thermal sticker. So it looked like it was a sealed case of 151 ETBs, but it was actually Shrouded Fable. And that is like the perfect scam, because it is still a sealed case of ETBs. It hasn't been opened. It's got all the official tape on it. It weighs what it's meant to weigh, because it is 10 ETBs in there sealed from the Scarlet and Violet era. But it's the wrong set. And these little thermal labels are so easy to fake. You can print that off on like a $15 printer. So be very careful about sealed cases and stuff, because that's going to become more common as a scam. And me personally, I never buy a sealed case unless I know exactly where it's coming from, and that person, maybe I buy it from like an official business and they got that straight from distributor. Do you know what I mean? You know the full chain of custody. But me personally, I'm not buying a sealed case off of eBay. I'm just not doing it. It's not worth the risk, in my opinion, because it's just so easy to fake. Like, all you have to do is just get a sealed case of a cheaper set and just reprint that little thermal label and just put a different set name on it. You could put like an Evolving Skies set name on it. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine buying a sealed case of Evolving Skies and then you open it up and it's like Paradox Rift? Oh my gosh. That would be terrible. Anyway, let's move on. I need to go faster, but I keep going into story time. Okay. Last sold. eBay UK. Paldea Evolve 370. That's crept up quite a bit. It's creeping up week on week over here in the UK. It's an extra $10, $20, $10, $20, pounds even. Sorry, too much switching from US to UK. Stellar Crown. We don't talk about it super amount on the channel. I think it's a bit undervalued at the moment. It has been climbing back up in price. It's at that point now where last week it was at 260, last sales 254, 255. It's hovering at that 260 mark. Okay, me personally, I don't think that Stellar Crown is the best set out there, but I think that it is a underprinted set. It never got its big reprints. It's not one of those top sets that loads of people are going to put it away as sealed. I have some put away as sealed. Historically, when you get sets like that, like your Rebel Clash, like your Guardians Rising, like your Crimson Invasion, like your Ultra Prism, when sets are not printed like they should, they don't have to be the best sets and they get a premium, because you're always going to have people that want to buy any set. Okay, there will always be a market for people in the future that will want to buy a Stellar Crown sealed set. And if there is a very low supply of these, I guarantee in 5 years' time, there will be barely anyone selling sealed Stellar Crown on the market. So that is a play you can make. Do not expect to get rich overnight on Stellar Crown. However, I think people will be quite shocked when they look 5 years from now back. I think that Stellar Crown is going to be performing as well, if not better, than some sets that are much better than it. because there just wasn't the big reprints. They didn't make enough of it. Barely anyone put it away. That is definitely a play you can make with sealed going forward. And it's a play that I've made with sets in the past as well. That's why I own a lot of stuff like Darkness Ablaze, Vivid Voltage. Now, those sets were printed more, but they're less desirable, and I scooped them up below retail. So you almost can't lose. Do you know what I mean? Stellar Crown just looks a bit cheap at like that 260 range. In that 260 range, you've got Journey, Surgeon, all that other stuff. And it's already shown that it can push up to that $300 range. I think that people are sleeping on Stellar Crown. I think it's not a bad play. Obsidian Flames, I'm going to start picking up the pace here. 295, 300, hovering at that 300 mark. About the same price as Twilight right now. Again, one of those sets where you could get it for almost about a year for like $90. No one wanted it. It's up there at like $300 now. And it's gone higher than that before as well. I think that you're a bit late into Obsidian Flames if you buy in now. I think that you will make money. It will push up over $500 given enough years. However, for that $300 range, I think that you can buy better things. The time to buy into Obsidian was when it was $90, basically, is what I'm saying. If you really like it, buy into it, great. You will make money. Evolving Skies, King of the Jungle, Sword and Shield sets. Evolving Skies is just such an interesting one because it's so iconic. It is the GOAT set. I keep saying it each and every week. You need to treat Evolving Skies not like it's a sealed booster box. You need to treat Evolving Skies like it is a speculative limited asset class. Okay? Evolving Skies is gold. Evolving Skies is silver. Evolving Skies is palladium. Evolving Skies is Bitcoin. Okay? It's something where it's a commodity that's limited and there's a demand behind it. Okay? It is no longer a Pokemon set. Okay? In my eyes. It is a stable, not saying that Bitcoin's stable, but it is a extremely liquid, limited, speculative asset which will continue to climb up in price, almost guaranteed. Okay, and the big money that is coming into the hobby, which is happening every day and will continue to happen over the next 5 years, 10 years, will be looking at the big sets like your Evolving Skies, like your Team Up, because they're not going to sit and store, 500 boxes of Paradox Rift. If someone's got $500,000 to invest in Pokemon product, they're going to buy the most expensive stuff. They're going to buy your Evolving Skies. They're going to buy your Team Up. They're going to buy your Destined Rivals once it starts hitting those higher prices, which it will. Evolving Skies, it's climbing back up there in price again. So a few sales on TCG Player over the last week, all at that $2,500 range. Positive to see it back up there. We told you when it dropped to like 2,100 and stuff like that. We said that was a bit low. I set market a couple of weeks ago at like 2,300, 2,400. So to see multiple sales this week on TCG at around about 2,500 and a few above and a few below, I think that that's a fair price for it right now. And I only see it really chunking up there in price as time goes on. Last sold, eBay US. There's one here on an auction for 2,050, but don't worry, I checked it out. It says see description. It's got a massive tear in the middle. So that's really interesting. Here's the tear. Credit to the seller. This is what you need to do. Do a big see description, highlight the tear. That's what you do. And look, it's sold for 2,050. Let's see what real ones are selling for. 2,500. So that's the difference between a damaged one and not. 20% at this level. 20% might not seem like much when you're buying $150 boxes, $200 boxes. But once they start getting up there in price, your 20%, your 25% is $500. What happens when this is 10K a box? Your 20% becomes 2K. Condition is everything. I've always said to people, if you've got a choice of boxes when you're buying in at $200, spend $220 and buy the mintiest box on the market. Pay 10% over market, because when that box is $1,000, when that box is $10,000, that's the difference in price. Really positive to see Evolving Skies back up there at that $2,500 range. There's another one for sale. Let me find it. There's another one from yesterday, auction, 2,661. Okay, it's climbing up there in price. Sword and Shield is recovering. It's starting to push all-time highs again. Last sold eBay UK, 2160, 2150. So positive. Those are all-time highs in the UK as well, pushing right up there at top of the market. And I think it's just going to continue. Okay, where's Evolving Skies going long term? I think it's going here. I think Team Up is leading the way. Team Up last sold December 19th, 9,750. By the way, that is cheap for Team Up as well. Team Up was peaking before Christmas, $12,000 a box. Do you want to know how old Team Up is? Next month, 7 years old. 7 years is not that long in this hobby. How old is Evolving Skies? Like 4 years? 4.5 years, I think. I think it was August it came out 4.5 years ago. Something like that. 2021 was it? Or 2022? Something like that. Evolving Skies, about 4.5 years old. Team Up, about to hit 7 years. 10k a box on the low side. Okay, has already pushed over 12k a box. I think that's where Evolving Skies is going and beyond. Yeah, you can make the argument, yeah, but more people put away Evolving Skies and stuff like that. Yeah, but I think Evolving Skies is more iconic than Team Up. I'm going to go out there and say it right now. I think Evolving Skies is going to push up over Team Up, given enough years. 10 years from now, 15 years from now, I think Evolving Skies is going to be at crazy numbers. Let's zip through these last few Sword and Shield sets then. Fusion Strike, not much to talk about here. Had a good recovery up to the $1,000 range, holding at $1,000. Last sold this morning, $1,000. Really positive to see. I think that all these Sword and Shield best-in-class boxes are just going to continue to climb. Great to see it back up there. Last sold from yesterday, eBay US, $1,030. And then someone scooped one on an auction here for $910. Look at the difference in price on that between an auction and a buy now. Top of the market, and then someone just saved like $120, over 10% on an auction. They're crazy. Really crazy. Good opportunity. Last sold eBay UK, right up there at all-time highs. Really is. Just keeps climbing up there in price. 749 quid. Okay, to put things into perspective, the last Fusion Strike box that I bought in spring 2025, so not even a year ago. I paid 310 for it. No, I paid 330 for it, but market was 310. Again, I paid 8% over market to get the mintiest box. More than doubled up in less than a year. Really, really positive. And I think it's going to continue going. Lost Origin, climbing back up there in price, but still undervalued in my opinion. It should never be more than $100 behind Fusion Strike in my opinion. This should be a $900 box. And it's already shown that it can push up to $800 on the average, $820. It was already knocking on the door of 900. And yeah, I think it's going back up there to that range real soon. Like, not even, I'm not talking years. I think that we'll see a Lost Origin $1,000 box in the next 6 months. By the summer of this year, 2026, I think we'll see a $1,000 Lost Origin box. And then I think that that'll be that. There'll be no more Lost Origin under 1,000. And beyond, okay? 5 years from now, I could easily see Lost Origin going 2K, 3K, 4K. I can see it happening. Same with Fusion. Last sold eBay US $700. Last sold UK $610. Like I said, I think this should be $900 box right now. I think that it's still a good opportunity to buy. And look, someone scooped one. Look, for $630 yesterday. That's nuts, guys. What are we talking about? $630. Okay. Destined Rivals was selling for $480. And then for $630, you can get a sealed Lost Origin. That's nuts. Such a good deal, whoever scooped that one up. Brilliant Stars, up there, pushing all-time highs again. Like, right up there at all-time high. Last week, it was 570. Last sold, look at this. It's on the door of 600. Last sold, 598. Let's look at the chart of all-time high. It's at all-time high. Back in September, it was all-time high average for 546, 547. Last sold, 598. All-time high for Brilliant Stars. I mean, it's pushing up there to Lost Origin range. Brilliant Stars might overtake Lost Origin. That just shows how underpriced Lost Origin is right now, in my opinion. Last sold eBay US, 580. That's crazy. So happy to see that for Brilliant Stars. Last sold in the UK, 510. Let's talk about Silver Tempest. Silver Tempest starting to recover up in price, but still not quite there on where it should be. It should be knocking on the door of 500, back up at its all-time high. Last week it was 443. It's slowly climbing back up to that. There we go. Last sold, 483. Much better for it. There's a sale there as well from last week, 490. It's never broke 500, right? No, it got up to 489 on the averages back in October. And then, so it's up there at 483 now. So it's within $6. It's like 1.5% off of its all-time high and climbing. Really positive to see Sword and Shield climbing like this. Last sold eBay US 440. Another one for 450 on a buy it now. Last sold UK 440 quid, 415 quid. Chilling Reign. We don't talk about Chilling Reign too much on the channel here, but it is recovering back up there in price. I do think your money is better off in other products for this price range. I feel like Chilling Reign is a great set and it will perform really well. However, with Chilling Reign, you have like a weird situation where it's just like, it's not in the public eye as much as Brilliant Stars, Silver Tempest. It's not as iconic. Like the hits aren't as, like it's a good set. I really like Chilling Reign. It is at the top sort of half of the Sword and Shield era, but I'm telling you, Silver Tempest, Brilliant Stars are just more iconic, and obviously Lost, Fusion, Evolving. I think that it will continue to climb up in price. It's great to see it pushing up there in price again and going back towards its all-time high, but I think your money is better off in something like Brilliant or Silver if you're looking at that kind of price range, or just give up on the Sword and Shield era and just start looking at Destined Rivals if you're confident in what I say, that there's not going to be the big reprints that won't make a massive difference. Last sold eBay US 510. Another one going for 467. So you can get some pretty good deals on it right now. Not a bad set. 465, 410 in the UK. Let's talk about Crown Zenith very briefly. Crown Zenith is pushing back up there at all-time highs as well. All-time high was 226. Last sold 240. It's pushing right up there over all-time highs. I did liquidate my Crown Zenith this week. Not for any particular reason. Not that I don't think that it's a good investment, purely to save space. Okay. I currently cannot afford to store elite trainer boxes in mass for the amount of space that a $240 elite trainer box takes up. I can store a smaller Evolving Skies for $2,500. Do you see what I mean? I'm running out of space for how much capital I've got in sealed, so I'm having to condense down in space. I'm having to liquidate elite trainer boxes to make more room for higher end booster boxes. It's something that a lot of collectors get to a point where they just can't afford to have the space to store loads of elite trainer boxes. I do think this is a fantastic buy. If you can have the space and you want a safe investment that's just going to steadily build over time, Crown Zenith is great. Last sold eBay US, you're getting deals. Like I said, market's moving up to like 240 and people are dumping them now for 200, 209, 190. Crazy deals to be had. Good opportunity to buy into a very consistent climbing set. Last sold eBay UK 198, 120, 220, 210. 220, 210 is like all-time highs where market should be, and then someone just dumped one, new listing tag, got bought out sub 200. Good deal. I want to finish off. I really have to go now, but I really want to finish off by just looking at something a little bit different. This caught my eye when I was going through and looking at prices of stuff, and this really like demonstrates to you guys how this hobby can change your life. And when I talk about this hobby, I don't mean Pokemon as a whole. I'm talking about the very niche, very specific sealed product collecting and investing. Okay. And I want to show you this right here, this thing that's sticking out. It is a selection of sealed booster boxes. They are best in class booster boxes. So they are the real fire sets. And this sold on the 8th of January. So just over a week ago. It sold for 20,000 US, and it's not a best offer. Someone paid 20,000 US for it, for 6 booster boxes. And let's see what they got. They got a Cosmic Eclipse, they got 4 Evolving Skies, and they got the big boy. They got the Team Up as well. $20,000 US. The oldest booster box there is Team Up. That is 7 years next month. Okay. Cosmic Eclipse is what, like 6 years old, something like that. Maybe 6.5 years old. They reprinted these well late into their cycle as well. And then Evolving Skies is what, like 4.5 years old. I'm pulling these years off the top of my head. I think they're pretty accurate though. Yes, these are best in class. Okay, you had to have been lucky to predict these right of what to buy. However, someone did. Okay, I was buying into Evolving Skies at its lowest point at $180, at its highest point $300. Okay, these are now worth like $2,500, so a quarter of 10k. That's a good way to look at it. So these Evolving Skies, just the 4 of them together, if you'd have guessed that right with Evolving Skies, that's nearly 10 grand profit in 4.5 years. He smashed it though, and he's got the sealed Team Up, the sealed Cosmic Eclipse. Okay, 7.5 years ago, you could scoop these up for like $200. Like I said, this is best case scenario. This is someone who did really well, has the best in class. We don't know. This person might have only owned that Team Up for a year and they only made $1,000 or $2,000 on it. They might have even made a loss on it. But what I'm saying is there are lots of people out there that, and there were lots of opportunity to scoop these up, not for retail, but for a little bit over retail. Evolving Skies on release was available for $200 everywhere on the secondary market for months and months and months and months. I just wanted to highlight this. Like I said, it's best case scenario. You'd have to be lucky to predict those sets that well. However, it just shows the potential of what this hobby can do to your finances. And that is a life-changing amount of money for a lot of people. I love that in this photo as well, my boy is using a sealed case of something as a table as well. He's into some sealed product. He's doing well for himself. But I just wanted to highlight that because it puts things into perspective of what is really possible in this sealed collecting space. Anyway, I've got to jet on, but hope you guys enjoyed. Please do smash that like button, subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. I'll keep you up to date on prices each and every week. I'll tell you all the plays that you should be making. Hope you all have a wonderful day and peace.